right? Like we were talking about Hunter x Hunter. I think there's a guy who has summer power.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, every world record, every Olympian has experienced needs to experience flow state in order for them to break those records. And so
yeah,
like when we're accomplishing superhuman feats like breaking 5 minute mile or whatever, like surfing like 40-foot waves, it's like there's a part of you that has to let go of the sense of self in order for you to fully tap into all the resources that are available to you, because your conscious mind is only like this big. It can like get in like so many
yeah.
bits of data, but your subconscious mind is just like vast. And so like when you blank that out, the conscious mind, that's when you have access to a lot more resources.
Yeah, definitely. And that's that comports, completely with the Western, say, psychological idea of the subconscious and all the ways we've tried to describe it. Um, I've got a theory of dreams that I'm working on, and it struck me recently after like almost after 2 years of doing this, and now for several months I've been thinking about this idea that seems to me like dreams are the unfiltered thought process that goes on underneath our conscious attention to it and the world and translating those thoughts into communication. So what you're getting is the conscious attention to the external world, even in some ways to yourself, in terms of directing your thoughts, which we'll leave lucid dreams aside. But it's
Mm.
that state of saying, just being aware. It's almost dreaming is almost exactly like such a deep meditation that you see your thoughts passing as if they were separate from you, like you are
Mhm.
watching your thoughts happen rather than living your thoughts. I don't know if that's something that's occurred to you in terms of like the Eastern conceptions of dreams and meditation where they overlap. um,
Yeah, there's something called dream yoga, and one of my masters, my teachers in meditation and in Buddhism, talks to us a lot, tells us, shares with us about dreams as well. And I've been able to lucid dream since a really young age, probably like
wow.
5 or 6. I really wanted to be like the Green Ranger,
Oh yeah.
Power Rangers, and
Yeah.
so every time I had a dream about Power Rangers, I was like, I want to go back, I want to be the Green Ranger. And so like eventually it happened, and then it consistently happened, and then I started having these experiences of like we spend so much time in the dream world that like I have all these memories from the dream world, and then I have all these memories from the waking world, and it was just like it's lightweight becoming schizophrenic. I was like, what is like what's real, what's not real? Like I have a whole life here. Like there's like there because like my dreams are constructed of like similar houses, similar buildings, similar types of people. Like even like I can see people's faces and stuff. People that I've never recognized. And sometimes like I might see them in real life, like, I feel like I've seen you before. It's like, oh, like so it's really strange when growing up that like I have like this repository of all these lucid dreams and then like my waking life, and they were completely different. And yeah, it's I've had dreams where I've died before. Like
Mm.
was murdered. I was like the Batman. I got murdered and came back as a ghost, and yeah, all kinds of crazy lucid dreams that were not awesome but also awesome.
Yeah, some of the we watch movies that are adventures and horror films. We like to explore the full range of what's possible, and even sometimes in our subconscious, running thought experiments. What if I was the bad guy? What would happen to me if I did this thing in this circumstance? What do I? Sometimes it's even not could I get away with it because I want to, but what would I think was a reasonable consequence for me if I lived that way, if I did that bad thing. So making yourself the bad guy in a dream is almost never a desire to be the bad guy as much as to understand that perspective, to see it through those eyes, and in some ways, to see how you, as a member of broader humanity, knowing you could go wrong, what would it be like to do so, and whether you could live with that or were comfortable with it, or how do you understand that? Oh, I love those. I love those experiences.
In
Uh,
some sense, I think we are the bad guy in somebody's story. I mean, we have
you're not
been.
the hero in every story. It's true.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We don't have to talk about it, but I've had a pretty crazy past where I
Mm,
used to like sell drugs and guns and all kinds of stuff when I was younger, like 10 years ago or 10 plus years ago. And so I was definitely the bad guy. And I would say in some parts of my life, maybe I'm still a bad guy, like I'm not always, I mean, I try to act with compassion. I try to act with kindness.
mm,
Those are like very high values for me.
yeah.
Harmony is a great value for me, but sometimes I I gotta lay down what I gotta lay down, and so it might make me the bad guy, but I have to be okay with that. So
Yeah. Well, there's also kind of the lovable rascal side of things, or the a lovable asshole in some ways, like a Han Solo type character, where he's done some shady things in his past, but when it came time, he stepped up and did the right thing, and his conscience guided him. He found something to believe in after a while, and decided to commit to that path. That's a great I'm a sucker for the redemption arc. I love that. I want to believe it's possible for everybody, and I want to see even there's some movies that are like that where someone starts out as the bad guy and you see them go through this transformation and they end up the hero that performs a self-sacrifice. And it's like,
I love
I'll
those.
cry. I will. No shame. That's beautiful. Uh, but
I have trouble
go ahead.
crying, but I do love those. And ever since I was like young, I always wanted to, like, again, back to Power Rangers.
Hmm.
I'm not huge into Power Rangers, but I always wanted the bad guy to win sometimes. Like, why does he always have to lose? Like, it's so, like, I feel bad for him. Like, God, just like one time, just let him win. Just
Oh
give
yeah.
it to him. Yeah, they just never do. So
That was a story arc in another anime I saw. I can't remember which one, but it was a guy that wanted to, I think it might have been One Punch Man, the second season. They bring in that guy who was a student of the older guy, Gray Fox, Silver Fox, or whatever his name was, and the student went bad because he felt bad for the villain. He's like, I want the villain to win sometime, so I'm going to
oh
become the
yeah,
villain. That's a great
yeah, yeah,
that's a great idea to explore too.
yeah.
Um,
I like
and, when we were talking about the subconscious and tapping into those powers, I go all over the place. Now I try and come back. I even wrote down some notes on
full
that.
circle.
Yeah, the idea that so the subconscious is okay, separate it from the conscious. It's not just attention, it's that limited attentional bandwidth. In a way, there's only so many things we can consciously process, but everything we ever experience exists in our subconscious. Every taste, touch, and smell, every passing thought, every perceptual
Yes.
distortion, impulse, it's all literally hardwired into our brain by neuronal connections and by the sensitivity of specific pathways. That's why we get into habits, and we get into, and habits are hard to break because those pathways fire so easily. We have to actually build a new pathway that goes a different direction to get off that wrong track, like physically, in real life, and it maps. So what's in your subconscious is vastly more aware of the world. It's like the repository, as you were saying, of everything you've ever experienced physically, mentally. Tapping into that, making functional use of it is the trick, because we can only get this. If you have like a giant map and you're zoomed in and you can only see that little bit, but you can move it anywhere. You can move it anywhere, but how do you even know where? You can't tell. Is that a tree? Is that a forest? You can't zoom out on what's connected to here and there. So yeah, tapping into that becomes a difficult part. And then it's these very often the flow states that give us this weirdly zoomed out view of something. We're like, I see everything all of a sudden, and I can do something with it. I don't know if I'm describing that well from your perspective.
That's 100%. I would also say that in my personal belief is that a lot of things are mapped within our body too,
Mm.
and like all this, basically the five senses, and maybe the mind could be a sixth sense, but like it's all within the body. So all the senses map to our brain,